Hello guys and welcome to my channel. This channel is dedicated to posting important updates about travel requirements going to different places in the Philippines. So please subscribe if you want to get updates as they come. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates and you won't miss anything. Okay, in this video, we're going to discuss the travel requirements for Cebu Pacific passengers going to Puerto Princesa, Palawan. Travelers going to Puerto Princesa are either going to stay in Puerto Princesa or they will proceed to Palawan Province. So we will discuss first the Palawan Province requirements, and let's start off with tourists. Take note that tourists, okay, are only accepted in El Nido and San Vicente. So El Nido and San Vicente are the only ones accepting tourists right now, and these are the requirements that are needed. First is a valid negative RT-PCR test or saliva test result, proof of hotel booking from accredited accommodations only, round-trip tickets, acceptance letter from the LGU of San Vicente if you are going there, or if you're going to El Nido, you need the QR code which can be generated from the website elnidotourism.ph. Register as a tourist there so that your personal QR code can be generated. And lastly, a complete travel itinerary, which might come from your travel vendor or agency where you got the package from. If you are an LSI or a locally stranded individual, ROF, returning overseas Filipino, or just returning residents to Palawan Province, these are the requirements that you need to prepare. Valid negative RT-PCR swab test result or a valid negative saliva test result, whichever is available. A copy of a valid ID with complete city or municipal address as proof of residence. Letter of acceptance from the LGU of your destination. So this is required by all municipalities in Palawan except Rizal, Nara, and Quezon. So take note of that. A valid passport for returning overseas Filipinos. If you are a government appor traveling to Palawan Province, these are the requirements. Valid ID issued by your respective government agency and a original copy of your travel authority or travel order issued by your department. For other appors going to Palawan Province, the requirements are a valid negative RT-PCR swab test result or a valid negative saliva test result, travel order or office order should be taken from your company. Okay, they should provide this one. So I get a lot of questions where to get the travel order. So it should be coming from your company because this travel order is a proof that you are sent there to Palawan, to go to Palawan for official business. Acceptance letter from the LGU of destination, valid ID, and endorsement letter from Emergency Operations Center. Okay. There is also a special requirement for doctors who are going to work in Palawan province. So for doctors, still a valid negative RT-PCR test or saliva test result, valid ID, and acceptance or endorsement from the chief of hospital where the doctor is supposed to work. That's all for Palawan province. If you need time to review, you can go back to the parts of the video where it is discussed. Let's proceed to Puerto Princesa City requirements. Let's start off with the locally stranded individuals and returning overseas Filipinos or returning residents, what are the requirements? These are the following: valid negative RT-PCR swab test result or a valid negative saliva test result, whichever is available. Barangay certificate signed by the barangay captain, okay, of your LGU of destination. Valid ID, valid passport for ROFs, and endorsement letter for returning overseas Filipinos. If you are traveling to Puerto Princesa as an authorized person outside of residence, you have to prepare the following: valid negative RT-PCR swab test result or a valid negative saliva test result, whichever is available. Valid ID issued by your agency or company. Mission or job order. Proof of assignment or deployment. And endorsement letter from the Emergency Operations Center. And finally, these are the reminders for all guests going to Puerto Princesa via Cebu Pacific Air. All arriving passengers who manifest any COVID-19 symptoms upon arrival, so meron silang symptom screening upon landing on the Puerto Princesa Airport. Those who manifest symptoms will be isolated in designated provincial temporary treatment and monitoring facilities or TTMF. Even if you brought with you a negative RT-PCR test result. So remember this, even if you have a negative test result on hand, but you exhibit symptoms, you will still be isolated or detained in a quarantine facility. And all expenses during isolation shall be shouldered by you. So you need to prepare for this because this might entail delays in your travel and expense on your part as well. And those are the requirements for going to Puerto Princesa via Cebu Pacific Air. I hope you learned something from this video. Please take note of all the requirements. You can always go back to specific portions of the video where the requirements are being discussed. Thank you for watching the whole video and thank you for all your support.